Today marks the end to this journey. Not yet technically, this journey, the free training, has been, I believe, like a moderator said, has been impactful and insightful. You mastered so much to be aware. That is actually the crux of this training, to mastering the concept of cybersecurity along the four focal parts we enlisted. That's cybersecurity fundamentals or essentials, governance, risk, and compliance in cybersecurity, data privacy and protection as an arm of cybersecurity. Now, we saw fundamentals of cybersecurity. We saw governance, risk, compliance, and cybersecurity. We also saw data privacy and protection as an arm of cybersecurity. And we started the last part, which is security operations. We've been receiving feedbacks that has been very, very enlightening and eye-opening. That is the objective, to ensure you master the basics of these focal parts. Now, these focus areas, so to put it, that that's not all there is, or they're not all there is to cybersecurity. No, I mean, GRC. Basically, when you go for the cybersecurity class, that does not have, that is just generic. What you'll be mastering there actually is the essentials or the fundamentals of cybersecurity, generally, which we did presented, I mean, in that direction. And also, or we did present, so to put it in that direction. And then we went specialists, the specialist routes. GRC, DPP, and SecOps are specialist routes in cybersecurity. They are not generic. So I'm just doing a recap. They are not generic. The moment you choose to go any of those routes, there are other routes like AppSec, like pen testing, like ethical hacking, like vulnerability assessment, like threat hunting or threat intelligence, like IAM, identity and access management. We got a whole lot of other outshoots or branches within the field of cybersecurity. It was back then, cybersecurity was a skill set. It is not a single skill set anymore, though at entry level is a skill set, cybersecurity. But at specialist routes, it is no longer a skill set. It's a family of skill sets. So we saw four. Today will mark the end of the fourth. And we have cybersecurity program for GRC, DPP, and SecOps. We also have the entry level as a program, that is the essentials. We call it Mastering Cybersecurity Essentials. It has a code name, MCX-100. That's the code name or the course code. So we still have it, though this will be the first time I'll be talking about it. You may want to ask, who is that meant for? Oh, if you are new to tech, you are new to anything technological, and you want to come into tech through cybersecurity, you want to come into tech through cybersecurity, then Mastering Cybersecurity Essentials, that program would be a good one for you. Or you got a word, or a child who's out of school, high school, and just waiting to secure admission into a college, then Mastering Cybersecurity Essentials will be a good one for that child or for that individual. It doesn't have to be a child anyway. Or you got an elderly one or a retiree who is interested in learning, who thinks, though I'm retired, mentally I'm not tired. And this thing called cybersecurity, I want to know it. Oh, bring them on board. We got a program for them. Once again, it is christened Mastering Cybersecurity Essentials. Inside it, everything you're learning here now is inside, but in bits, like chapters. I hope you're getting it. So inside that program, you're going to learn governance, you're going to learn DPP, but then the governance is, what I mean now is they are way deeper than the way you're learning, what you're mastering in this program. So they will go quite deep into them. So at the end, the individual would have acquired so much knowledge from the defensive and from the offensive. As a matter of fact, it interests you to know that there is a module in that program called network security. You would agree with me that we did not touch network security here, except that maybe partly in the cybersecurity fundamentals. I said one or two things about it, but not so deep. But in Mastering Cybersecurity Essentials, we have a module with chapters inside of it, christened network security. That is where you'll be learning the likes of encryption, or let me say PKI, public key infrastructure, from basic encryption to advanced wireless network security, and the likes, a whole lot. So now let's get started. We saw what security operations, we saw the meaning yesterday. I'm going to cap it up in a moment, and then we'll go into SOC, which is Security Operations Center. For the opt-in time, I just want to be sure, because I want to go into my mood now. For the opt-in time, can you give me feedback if I'm still audible at your end? I want to go into my teaching mode now. Okay, thank you. Jakai, thank you for that feedback. Thank you, Yakubu. Thank you, Franklin. So let me get into the spirits now, into the mood. Security operations, we saw it in two lights. In the light of, thank you, Timilei. We saw it in the light of as an operational practice. You remember, I talked much about operations yesterday. We saw SecOps as an operational practice, also as a management function. You remember very well. And we also saw SecOps as a fusion of IT security, which was a standalone function, and IT operations, which was another standalone function before now. Though we still have institutions separating these functions within the IT department. Yes, there are still institutions who have not set up SecOps as a function. Your organization just might be one of them, where you work, or one or two organizations you're very familiar with, just might be one of them. I mean, if an organization has SecOps, you will know. How will you know? You will hear the word Security Operations Center. You will hear it. I hope you're getting me as part of their organizational structure. You either you hear it or you see it on the organogram that it got to Security Operations Center, SOC. Any institution that's got SOC obviously has security operations in place as an operational practice and as a management function. So it's in that light, they fused IT operations with security operations. And I also mentioned I've got other operations like operational centers like NOC, network operations center, that's NOC, NOC. Then we got data center. We got quite a few centers. Not necessarily one with the centers here. We're not really talking about one very massive geographical space, though that is very common with data center. We say it's a center because there's an infrastructure there, which is acting as a backend of the entire network infrastructure, and from where administration of that entire network infrastructure takes place. So we got network operations center. We may also like network operations center as when you say server room. right? If you've been to a server, I'm not saying a computer room. There are some organizations with just one server and they call it server room. That's just a computer room, right? Okay, when we say server room, that was the old name back then. The name has actually changed now. So we now have, we call them Network Operations Center. That's where you got, going to see at least a minimum of one very big rack, not your small, what do you call it, 2U, 4U, 6U, 8U racks. I'm not talking about those small size racks. I'm talking about the very big racks that can accommodate a lot of network gadgets. So if you've ever been to that segment of your organization or of an organization, you agree with me that, oh, I saw something. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so that would be, if you've ever been to a locale like that, which is highly restricted to non-tech experts, it means you've been to a network operations center. You would always, by default, you will find the back end of that network. We call it the core in the hierarchy of a network infrastructure. We got the core, we got the edge or access, then we got the aggregates. Sorry, I just took it to network engineering now. So at the data network operations center, you got the core and the aggregate. I mean the core and the aggregate. Then we got the access or the edge at the user end. Okay, that's that. Because we saw the evolution of security operations yesterday. Please refer to the video when it's available. It will soon be available for your access. Then we saw technologies that came up. It was these technologies that actually defined SecOps or gave it its full recognition. We got technologies like CM, which is also a fusion, a digital integration of what? Security information management and security event management, SIM and SEM, which fused together gives us a CM or SIM. Some people call it SIM, but it's CM, as I choose to call it. So it's that this was at this introduction of this technology that the word SecOps actually evolved. But SecOps today has gained further recognition, or it has evolved with this technology now called SOA, Security Orchestration, Automation, and Response. We saw this yesterday, and this picture depicts the evolution of SecOps from before 1995 to 2020. So it is not an up-to-date, but I went far to get this picture, though it wasn't, I got it from a text, so I had to improve on it to this point so as to make it legible. So the principles of SecOps, we saw this yesterday, and the objectives of setting up or implementing SecOps. Because SecOps, or security operations, is both a set of security practices, and also we saw threat detection and prevention. It's one of the core objectives of implementing SecOps. SecOps as a set of security actions. Under that, we saw continuous monitoring and the likes. Okay, so threat detection and prevention. If you are nothing or you intend to go into SecOps, that's part of what you will be achieving: security and threat detection and prevention. Then incident response and recovery. This on its own is an area of specialization. I mean it. This, in fact, each one of them is an area of specialization in SecOps. Threat detection and prevention comes under the aegis of threat intelligence or threat hunting. Then we have incident response and recovery. We got operational efficiency. We got management in these lights. So we saw all of these yesterday, and compliance and governance, or governance and compliance. Also, I think I should have just called it GROC, governance, risk, and compliance, actually, because one of the responsibilities of SecOps experts is risk assessments. In fact, regular risk assessment. So GROC is part of the objectives of SecOps. So we saw SecOps from two perspectives. At the beginning, it was reactive. It only responds to incidents. And then later on became proactive when SOA was introduced, EDX, XDS, and the likes. So we saw proactive security and reactive security in yesterday's class, and the table here summarizes that. Then the need for a balanced approach. Can we have SecOps as a reactive security alone? Yes. Can we have SecOps as a proactive security alone? Yes. But does it suffice? No. I hope you get it. So when we say you are implementing security operations, or security operations is enforced, is ongoing, we have it as an execution implementation in the workspace, fusion or both. You'll find on the bullet that relying solely on one type of security leaves significant gaps. For instance, a purely proactive strategy can be defeated by a zero-day attack or a very sophisticated threat. Should it be reactive alone? Oof, it will be unsustainable, as it assumes that attackers are inevitable and only focuses on damage control. But attackers inevitable? No. Can we address threat actors or threat agents? Yes, we can. Can we manage threats? Yes, we can. Okay, that makes it what? Proactive. By integrating both, organizations use proactive measures to minimize the attack surface. Please, this is the key point here. By implementing proactive security, you reduce the attack surface. I taught you attack surface in security fundamentals. So when we're taking cybersecurity fundamentals, can somebody quickly go to the chat segments and just drop a line or two on what you understand? Don't use AI. Don't say Google search it. Just go into the chat segments and drop what your understanding of attack surface is and give us an example of attack surface. The video of this class, the session, is available. So I want to believe you should have viewed it or watched it. If you have not, I gave you a piece of advice when we started this journey, that you should have a jotter and a pen. I also said that yesterday. I should have a jotter and a pen when you attend classes, not just a class, cybersecurity class. Please, you do well by taking down notes. What's an attack surface? And give me an example of an attack surface. I taught you in cybersecurity fundamentals, and I gave you examples, right? So please share with us. I want to assume I don't know attack surface. Somebody has given us. Somebody said point of entrance. Okay, a PC or a mobile device. You are correct. Abasi, you are correct. That's point of attack. Before an attacker would launch an attack, he would scan the network and observe a vulnerable spot, because that would make it easy for him to gain entrance. That spot that is often attacked. I like you to know this, that 99% of all cyber attacks, let me say 90, 99 will not be an exaggeration, 90% of all cyber attacks did not happen by chance. It was premeditated. The attacker knew he was going to launch an attack. Secondly, the attacker knew the victim. That is, there was an intelligence prior to the attack. So the attacker got sufficient, if not sufficient, but got some information maybe directly by personal search or from other sources, and used the information gathered to launch an attack. So every, or let me say, 90% of attacks are premeditated. They are planned. Some are even strategically planned. So it means if those attacks were strategized, were planned, then the attack surface was known before the attack was launched. Do you get? I hope you get the point. That's what I'm trying to make. Successful attacks, of course, the attackers knew this attack surface. They knew where to strike. And every attack surface is a vulnerable point or has some vulnerabilities. So it is by discovery of that vulnerability that the attacker was able to launch an attack, penetrated the network through, like, you or me or any human can be an attack surface. Oh, can somebody tell me what kind of attack is that where human is the attack surface? Quickly. What I taught you this in security fundamentals. What kind of attack is that where human? Thank you, Abasi. An attack where human is the attack surface is called social engineering. Thank you, Desmond. Now, I am glad you are in tune. So let's move on. Proactive measures would minimize or reduce. Thank you, Abdulwadud. I hope I pronounced that well. Thank you for the answer. So proactive measures would reduce the attack surface. Why? Because proactive measures employ risk assessment a lot. And if you recall GROC, one of the actions in risk assessment is what? Vulnerability assessment. You recall? Okay. In risk assessment, of course, you will be identifying vulnerabilities, threats, determining likelihood and the impact. You recall, we did that in GRC. Okay? So it means that in proactive security, proactive SecOps, there'll be so much of what? Risk assessment, which can be automated using SOAR. Hope you get that. Thank you, Tobiloba. And this would prevent what? So should you reduce your attack surface? What are you addressing? Quickly. Are you hardening your device or you are addressing threats? Or both? Should you reduce your attack surface? We call that risk mitigation. You getting me? By reducing your attack surface, that is risk mitigation. Thank you, it's both. So do you see that threats can actually be managed? So the ideal way to manage threats is through proactive. You know, there is this, let me quickly say this. Any knowledge you acquire that cannot be applied to self should be checked. I'm a knowledge worker, and you can see that I'm a knowledge worker. You can see that I understand the knowledge economy. So what I'm saying invariably is I know what I'm saying when I say knowledge that cannot in any form, you acquire knowledge and it cannot be applied to yourself, to you. That knowledge should be checked. Yes, I think the process leading to that outline or to that content is not good enough, or it's not complete. Whatever the knowledge you acquire, I am saying this, there should be a point in it or two, a line or so that is applicable. Even it can be maths, it can be physics, it can be chemistry, biology, any of those science courses, it can even be arts or management or social sciences or STEM or whatever knowledge you acquire, you should be able to apply it to, there should be, no matter how small it is, that you can apply it to self. Why am I emphasizing this? It's because you, me, are opened to attacks, not just cyber attacks, exploitations and the likes. The onus is on us with this kind of knowledge to identify the attack surfaces if not one, if it's multiple. In our conduct, in our actions, in our lifestyle. I hope you're getting, that's where I'm leading you. You should be able to identify the attack surface or attack surfaces that can be exploited. Do you get it? Okay. You know, when risk occur, we say a given threat has exploited what? Thank you, Ambassador, for that. A given threat has exploited a vulnerability or two or more, right? So it means if you as an individual, you experience some form of risk or you encounter some, you suffer from some risk occur events or incidents, it means there were some attack, there is or some attack surface or surfaces that were exploited, that were what? That were targeted by a threat leading to that risk. So every time you suffer an incident called risk, do an assessment, some personal assessment to determine the vulnerability that was exploited, the threat that exploited it, the attack surface that was the target, so that you can address it and a recurrence, because that's one of the hallmark of risk management, that there won't be a recurrence or a reoccurrence of that incident. Reactive measures would ensure rapid and effective response to an incident. I said in a previous slide that these two are areas of specialization in SecOps. Let's look at the security mindsets and the security culture. Funsho has been talking about security being what? A set of actions. Of course, that's correct. And it's also said that security is what? Is a management function. So if security is a set of what? Actions, what we call operational activities, not transactional activities, but security activities, then there should be a mindset to it. There should be a culture to it. Who has mindsets? You and I, people. What about the culture, the practices? That's what you see on the right hand of this guy. That's the culture. That is the action. Why do you find human on his left hand? The mindset. It is for us to have the mindset. It is from that mindset it translates into a culture. And that is what I want to teach now. Security mindset and culture. The mindset is the attitude, the collective awareness you have as an individual or as the personnel of an institution towards the protection of digital assets, being vigilant, proactively vigilant, and responsible in decision making. Do you get that? Is a mindset. I am not saying that you become paranoid or paranoid or you become suspicious. It is true that cybersecurity can make you paranoid at some point. I must establish this fact. I don't know if I possibly said it during the fundamentals session, that one of the impacts of cybersecurity skill on every cybersecurity professional is that it gives you this sense of paranoia. You just lost this sense of something might go wrong. So it is not, you don't remain there. That's the beauty of cybersecurity. It doesn't leave you in that state. Rather, because you have that sense, the next thing you become proactive. Do you get it? That is what cybersecurity does to you. 10 years, because even a trusted staff can give information to exactly. So you become, there's this sense. I'm not saying feeling. Do not mistake it for a feeling. It's a sense. Oh gosh. Remember yesterday I told you about reality, digital reality, right? Yes. How do you acknowledge a reality if not for your senses? Am I making sense? How do you acknowledge a reality? If your senses now, in the same vein, in digital reality, there is that sense. So one of that sense in digital reality is what? Cybersecurity. It's a mindset. Do you get it? Okay, for culture, is the broader environment and shared norms. That is, for security culture, it is not about you as an individual, but the organization has it as a practice, as a way of doing business. That is what you find when you work, as you assess the digital system of your bank or an organization, maybe sometimes a website, and you see the level of security implementation, you would know clearly that this environment is uniquely different from another, because they are giving you you are having a digital reality with a sense of security. That, wow, this place is secure because I'm being asked to log in, I'm being asked to check this, and I'm being asked to do this. As all the way, there are security points. That is not a mindset. That is a culture. Do you get it? So it is security mindset that translates into a security culture. Function, why are you emphasizing this? It is because there is this, I told you that cybersecurity yesterday. I said, or let me say SecOps. I said is a top-down approach. You remember I said so. And then it is top-down because it's management's contribution or management buying is a necessity. So it means leaders and managers of an institution must have a security mindset. It is from that mindset it translates into a culture. I want to believe there are some organizational leaders in the house, some managers in the house, you know yourself. To implement security culture or to enculturize your system or enculture your system security-wise, you must carry a security mindset. And that's what this class is doing to you. This training is helping you to develop a security mindset so you can translate it into practices, which we now call security culture. But at the level of culture, it is not just about you anymore. It's about the what? It's a norm in the organization. It's been found to be normal. Yes, that's how we do it here, according to one of my favorite authors, this guy from Harvard Business School now. The way we do things here. Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember it. Michael Porter. Thank you. So in essence, the mindset is the individual's internal framework, but the culture would be what? The organization's environment and their shared norm that cultivates and reinforces the framework across everyone. Everyone should be security conscious. You don't say it. Leaders in the house and would be leaders in the class. It's not by talking. That attitude got to stop. Don't tell your people, be security conscious. No, stop that. It's no longer enough. You got to put a framework, an operational framework. Don't just write something. Put an operational framework. Operationalize that saying. I hope you're getting me. It's not enough to say there is social engineering, though, please be conscious. It's not enough. Operationalize security into your BAUs. Do you get it? Okay, let's move on. The security mindset is to the individual. The security culture is to the institution. Do you get that? Okay, sorry. The characteristic of a security mindset is thinking like an attacker, like a hacker, and recognizing how things can be broken or used maliciously. Wow, you see an opening, a digital opening. Wow, and I can exploit this opening. I can attack. You are thinking like an attacker. I do this a lot. When I enter into institutions, I'm just thinking like, it does not make you an evil person. No, it doesn't make you look awkward. No. it's a security mindset. You are just security conscious. So you're looking. I once told a student who is an auditor in a bank that a particular design in the bank is a vulnerability. At first, he was trying to argue it in class. Sorry for your understanding. We take certification trainings like, or for your knowledge, we take certification, for your information, I mean, we take certification trainings like Certified Information Systems Auditor, Certified Information Security Manager, Certified in Risk and Information Security Controller, CRISC. We take other certifications in, we take the IC square certifications like CISSP and his brothers and sisters in the family. We take certifications from, we train prep students for certifications from CompTIA, CompTIA Security Plus, and the likes. So you just might be interested in any of these certifications. We would prep you not just to pass, but to know, be able to apply. So you can talk to your friends, your fans, your colleagues. If they're also interested, we can have a class. Yes, we can have one for you. You can be rest assured, you will be glad you did. You'll be glad you came through these routes. Okay, number 2 characteristics, being vigilant. And lastly, willingness to take action. But in the culture, security first approach, security first. 2, leadership support. This is where I said top-down approach. So SecOps is a top-down approach. Leadership buying, leadership management support, then well-defined policies. The institution will have security, or what we call cybersecurity or information security policies, processes, and will communicate these through appropriate channels. Now you can see the ladder in the security mindset spectrum. Okay, let's move on. Let's move. There's still a whole lot to talk about. Defensive and offensive security. I want to talk about this once again because I've talked about it during our cybersecurity fundamentals session, the first session we had in this journey, but not as in-depth as this. Now, why am I bringing this up again? It's deliberate. In SecOps, in security operations, we got the defensive or the DevSec experts, DevSec, DEFSEC, who are also called the blue team or called the shield. Within SecOps, we got the OffSec, offensive security skill sets. Now, before I use the word experts, these are skill sets. So let me not just say they're persons. They are skill sets. And where will you find skill sets? It's in persons, right? You find skills in people. Okay, I think for AI now, AI as an artificial intelligence, mimicking humans, now have some what? Skill sets too. But then in SecOps, security operations as a practice, and also as a function, there are the defensive skill sets, just like we have the reactive and the proactive within security operations. We got defensive security and we got offensive security. The focus of defensive is to protect the system, the network, and its other resources from attacks. Being able to detect threats ahead, and it is protective in nature. The approach is being reactive, responding to threats as they occur, not ahead of those attacks coming. That's what we call defensive, from the word defense, like building up bulwarks or castle walls and all of that, or moats. Sorry, I said moats and castle walls. There are cybersecurity implementations we call castles and moats. Is a model in cybersecurity. It's within a family called layered security, or you call it defense in depth. Okay, the goal of defensive security is to maintain security at all times by preventing breaches. So we are not detecting these breaches ahead of the occurring. It is as they attempt to occur, we address them. That's what we call defensive security. A very good example, implementations of firewalls, intrusion detection system, prevention system, anti-malware, like antivirus, they are all what? Defensive security. Do you get that? Techniques, firewalls, IDS, IPS, antivirus, constantly monitoring network, e.g. the use of CM. CM2 is a good example of defensive security. This is where we have the bulk of cybersecurity experts in the defensive. Detecting and analyzing security incidents, developing, implementing incident response plan, vulnerability management. This is one of the very key aspects of cybersecurity you find both in defensive and offensive. I mean vulnerability management. Security awareness too is both defensive and offensive, but more defensive. And then we got threat intelligence, although threat intelligence is more of an offensive practice than a defensive practice. You definitely do some threat intelligence, which is in the light of what? Information gathering, right? In offensive, I mean defensive, as against offensive. It is more of an offensive practice than defensive. In offensive, the action here is proactive. You attempt to identify a vulnerability or weakness even without the presence of a threat that will exploit it. Or you attempt to test the strength of an organization's security posture in order to identify these vulnerabilities. Not because there is a threat, but you're just, that act of testing, like AppSec, application security, for instance, or security testing. These are examples of offensive security. The approach is very proactive and it involves lots of simulation. Cyber attacks are often simulated within a controlled space. So that's one of the focal points of what? Offensive. There's a whole lot in offensive security, but this is just for you. This is just an awareness concept. I mean, awareness session. I am not going deep into it. When you come for a specialized training like security SecOps, that's when you master the art of what? Offensive security. And you see some, okay, these are different activities. There are labs that simulate what? Offensive security. The goal is to enhance security by identifying and fixing vulnerabilities proactively ahead of these vulnerabilities being known or being exploited. In it, there's also incident response and security awareness. You know, I talked about that the likes of vulnerability assessments, security awareness are both proactive and reactive. Techniques in offensive security is what? E.g. pen testing, hacking, what we call ethical hacking or white hat hacking. That was the name back then. We got 3 types of hacking. We got the black hat hacking, we got the white hat hacking, and we got the what? The gray hat hacking. These are people called activists. If an individual introduces himself as an activist, he is a gray hat hacker. He does it for commercial purpose. That is, he's paid to do it. So he might be employed for the good reasons and might also be employed or engaged for the other reasons. You know what I'm talking about. So a number of state-sponsored attacks actually performed by activists, the gray hat hackers. Tools such as Kali Linux, Metasploit, Bob Suits, Nmap, Black Axe, Parrots, the Parrot OS. These are tools that are often used in offensive security. Personnel in offensive security are usually called the red team, And then part of the action is red teaming exercise, simulating reward attack, vulnerability assessment, exploit, development, social engineering. Oh. Are you saying social engineering is an offensive? It's an offensive, or it comes under offensive? The answer is yes. Yes. Do you know social engineering is an assault? It's a direct assault. Take, for instance, a thief with an arm, maybe a knife or a gun or whatever, attempts to attack his victim or a victim. That's an assault, right? Okay. Do you know social engineering it carries the same weight? Although social engineering is subtle. Like someone attempted to engineer me this week. I shared it with my colleagues in the academy that someone attempted to engineer me socially this week by attempting to hijack my WhatsApp account from me. And he called me and appeared that I have an invitation, did I receive it, and all of that. So I'm just following along until I told him, did you profile the individual you are trying to engineer before you attempted it? Perhaps you should go and profile the person because you will know that that fellow cannot fall to it. So social engineering is a subtle but an offensive attack. Okay, we got personnel like ethical hackers, pen testers, security consultants, the red team leads and the likes, the ones involved in offensive. Then there is the third arm, which is a hybrid of the two. It is called collaborative security or collaboration and purple teaming. We call this the purple team from the color code. Should you mix color? Should you mix red and blue together? What will you have? You have purple, right? You remember your fine arts back then in school. That is how the name evolved. The purple team, which is the mix of red and blue. So you can see it wasn't an accident that the name purple was given to it. Okay, so it's just the strength of both galvanized or harmonized to form a new skill. Not because purple team is or purple teaming is a uniquely distinct skill set in security operations. No, it's not. Before you become a purple team expert, you must have been a red team member or a blue team member. Since you came in as either blue team or red team into the fold, then you now learned the other. You know what I'm talking about. You're a blue team who mastered red teaming, or you're a red team member who mastered blue teaming. So by mastering the other, you become a purple team member. The benefit is faster improvement, enhanced understanding and context of both teams, efficient validation, and so on, and so forth. So let's continue. Still a lot to look at. Hope we are able to finish it tonight. Okay, why both are essential? What we mean both? The red team, the blue team, which are the emblem now of offensive and defensive. So every time you hear offensive security or OffSec, it means red teaming. Or if you hear red teaming or a red team, it means they are experts who are involved in offensive security. The same thing goes for the blue team and the defensive. I hope you get that. Okay, so the need for the two is to have comprehensive strategies. Like say, why purple team? That's what this slide addresses. Why purple team? To have a comprehensive strategy, because you leave no stone unturned. The blue team would not say, I can't carry out some basic penetration testing. Please, I need you to know that in purple team doesn't mean you are at your best at both worlds. You basically have the mastery to initiate tasks at both ends. I hope you know what I'm talking about. Initiate and even consummate a task. It might not be as advanced as an ethical hacker skill set. You know what I'm talking about. So For those of you who might be thinking, oh, I want to go that route, good. But you must know that it comes at a cost, not necessarily financial, time, effort, and all of that. To master blue team alone, because within the blue team and the red team, blue team has more areas of specialization than the red team. So to master blue team skills alone is daunting. Same thing goes for the red team. And you want to fuse both. If anybody tells you it will happen in a year, the fellow is lying. I said so as a trainer. That you must, don't worry, we are running purple team training and you are new to tech. Or even if you are not new to tech, you don't have cybersecurity mastery. Perhaps you are a programmer, a database administrator, or just a web developer, a web designer. You know what I'm talking about, UI, UX experts and all of that. And someone is telling you will learn purple team in a hurry. That's just some social engineering or some marketing stunt anyway. So be careful before you decide. So please do your search when you hear or you see adverts of the likes or publicity. Do your search. You can even ask what AI. AI has become your companion. Ask and learn more about such offerings. So comprehensive strategy is one of the strengths of both within SecOps. Continuous improvements, of course. You have both offensive and defensive skill sets. Oh, what are you talking about? There'll be so much. Who is this fellow? Abiola, be careful. I'm going to, well, that was on a soft note. He brought the field, the football field to the class. Thank you for doing that. Thank you once again. Okay, realistic validation. What this means is you wouldn't just need to listen to the red team personnel talk alone, because you have the skill set of both, because you'll be able to validate. For instance, there is a test result from an offensive, or let me say from pen testing, and you are a blue team expert. Of course, you may not be able to interpret the details of the test result. You may, of course, you understand, because cybersecurity jargons will be used to write the results. Definitely, you will understand to some extent, but you might not be able to interpret the numbers or the details, right? But should you have both skill, or should an organization's security operations have both within it, to be easy to validate the results, then reduce risk? I think this is clear. By having the strength of both words, it will reduce your risk exposure. Okay, we're done. Technically done with security operations. It's been a long journey on security operations, because that is what informs SOC. I deliberately took it that right, and I told you yesterday why I choose to emphasize so much on SecOps than SOC. I know in classes like this, some persons who already know what SOC is, SOC analysts, SOC, will be expecting that the training like this will just dive straight into SOC. No. let's get it straight. I mean, every word had its formation from A to Z, right? So why would you want to master sentence structures, master lexis and structures, or master how to construct an article when you've not mastered letterings, A to Z, or you've not mastered it? So I think that was what I did, or that was what I wanted to do with SecOps. That's understand security operations from two perspectives. Number one, as an operational practice, then two, as a functional area, a management function. Now, let's now translate this. Let's bring both together. Bringing SecOps as an operational practice and as a management function under the same guise, we will call that Security Operations Center. So let's go into SOC. You will enjoy SOC, I can assure you. Let's look at it. What exactly is SOC? It is a place. It is not a thing. Yes, I said so. It might be a virtual place or a virtual space. Yes, it is called a center. Of course, because it is called a center, it exists. Unlike SecOps, that is a practice or an oversight. I hope you're getting me. Of course, SecOps is a practice or an oversight, but for SOC, Security Operations Center, it exists either in virtual state, which we call VSOC, or as a physical locale, a physical space, you know, like a room, an office, a building, the floor of a building, or part of the floor of a building. You get it? Just the way we have server rooms or data centers. Please, mind you, security operations centers are not as large as data centers. Anyway, just like we have data centers, network operation centers, IT operation centers, and the like. In the same vein, we have what? Security Operation Center. It is said here that they form the backbone of today's cybersecurity practice. They are responsible, or it is responsible for real-time threat detection, response, and system protection. It means everything SecOps is performed in a SOC. Do you get it? Now you understand SecOps, right? So where would we practice SecOps, or where would we implement SecOps from? Where is SecOps initiated from? Where is SecOps administered from? Where is SecOps managed from? It is called a SOC. It's a carefully organized, centralized security hub. It is like a lab. Do you get it? The way, if you're very used to a server room or a network operation center, that is how SOC is. It exists. You would find digital infrastructure like computers, multiple screens, and so on and so forth. Yes, that's a good example. It looks most, if you're used to sci-fi movies, you understand, or some of these high-tech movies, you would agree with me that you've seen movies such depiction. The next point says the concerning entities here are network. Now, the second point, second bullet says is carefully organized, centralized security hub, accountable for keeping an eye on the organization's security strategy. Now, what are these entities within an organization's network infrastructure that SOC administers? Is one, networking applications or network apps, servers, endpoints, e.g. for endpoints, assistive cameras, user computers, network printers, and the likes. These are endpoints, websites, storage solutions, third-party software. Okay, Timlen, will attend to your question during question and answer segments. Corporate devices like mobile phones, tabs, and the likes, or any other technology that a company uses. It is the duty of security personnel at SOC to provide security measures or implement security measures over these entities. A fully managed security operations center can perform real-time threat risk analysis, remediation, continuous surveillance, and concerned digital infrastructure. It is a key unit in every security conscious business organization, e.g. telecommunication, banking, construction companies, organizations, and some very large institutions and so on. I mean, academic institutions, they all have what? Security operations center, though in different sizes. Modern SOC combine real-time telemetry, behavioral analytics, that's where you find AI and ML, and SOA automation to reduce dwell time and neutralize threats before they even escalate or occur. SOC can exist as an in-house infrastructure or facility, and can also be what? In the cloud, such as SOC as a service. If you know cloud computing, this construct will be clear to you. SOC as a service. There are three popular models in cloud computing: infrastructure as a service, software as a service, and platform as a service. But there are other models that are outshoot from these existing three principal models in cloud computing. One of them is called SOC as a service. We're going to see more. Let's quickly look at what John Smith, a CISO of Fortune 500 organization in the US, he said a modern SOC is no longer just a monitoring center. It is the nervous system of an organization's entire system. Wouldn't you want to work in a place like this? If you see security operations centers in movies, does it not, don't you get endeared to it? Does it not fascinate you that, wow, and I would love to work in a place like this? Of course you can. With the right skill, you can. Acquiring the right skill from the right training center, dished out to you from experts, of course you can. And SkillToPro Academy is there to do just that. So I repeat, he said, a modern SOC is no longer just a monitoring center. It's the nervous system of an organization's entire security infrastructure. Processing, this is mind-boggling. A SOC is processing over 10,100 security events per second. This is, if you understand security events, security activities on the network, you will be marveled. You would understand. Let me say, you will understand better, I mean, what this 1,100 security events per second means. So imagine the network traffics all carrying different payloads. And there are security concerns in all these payloads. Yes, sorry I use those technical jargon. In a network, there are traffics. In every traffic, there are packets. A packet is got segments. For simplicity, although, okay, for simplicity's sake, it's got, for the network guys in the house, you know what I'm talking about. We got packets, that's net data in transit, or a message in transit is called a packet, data packet. A data packet is technically broken into 2 or 3 parts, depending on the layer of the OSI reference model of the TCP/IP architecture. If you are using the OSI reference model, it will be broken into 3. We got the header, the body, also called the payload, and the trailer. If you are using the TCP/IP architecture, it is just 2. It is called the header and the payload. So in every payload or in every packet, there are security concerns for all the good reasons and the otherwise. So imagine what SOC does. As traffics are traversing a network, the SOC, that center called Security Operations Center, is constantly filtering, monitoring these traffics across 24 hours of the clock, 7 days a week, 365 days in a year, and it does not stop. That is why it is called the nervous system of the organization. Gartner, one of their distinguished, like they put here, their vice presidents did put that the modern SOC must evolve from a reactive alert factory to a proactive threat hunting operation that combines human expertise with machine intelligence. You can see from the first bullets that modern security operations centers combine real-time telemetry, behavioral analytics, and SOA automation. We're going to see some of these later. Let me say, I wish I could slow the hand of time. Let me build up. Let me move some speed. Sorry, can I get a thumbs up or 2 quickly if I'm still communicating? I want to build some speed. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that feedback. Sorry for the non-technical people in the house. Actually, security operations, or let me say SOC, is a highly technical aspect of cybersecurity, or yes, very technical aspect. So you find more of the offensive. Those, yeah, I told you, is managed and administered from a SOC, right? Okay. And we have both offensive, whichever within, if you want to come as offensive, as an offensive security expert, you will be working more in a SOC. That is your area of jurisdiction. But as a defensive expert, you might not necessarily have business with a SOC. For instance, GRC, you may not have any business, direct business with a SOC, a Security Operations Center. DPP analysts, a DPP specialist, I mean data privacy and protection specialists, you just might not have any business at all with the SOC on a day-to-day basis. Once in a while, you definitely have business to do with them, but your work to a large extent does not integrate with their work on a day, please note, on a day-to-day basis. So do not get put off if our language now is too technical for you. I've used some technical jargons. I've taken you a bit into networking and I use some technical stuff. So I'm sorry if you got lost. That is what you master in offensive security. When you come into offensive security, definitely you're going to master networking and network security. So you see, the jargons I use is just a bit, not a fraction. If anything, if there's anything smaller than a fraction, I don't know how small, the smallest sum of fraction anyway, but the tiniest fraction in network security is just what I mentioned in the light of the OSI reference model and the TCP/IP model, or the TCP/IP architecture. So let's quickly look at core functions of a SOC. Number one, they are classified into groups. We got preparation and prevention. So what do SOC analysts or experts do? Asset inventory. They maintain an inventory of all protected resources on the network, like network applications, servers, database, cloud services, endpoints, and the likes. Then proactive maintenance. They are more proactive in nature. They carry out updates often or apply patches, security patches, configuring firewalls and the likes. Then incident response planning. Talked about this briefly. Earlier. And then threat intelligence, which also has to do with threat hunting. They're trying to identify or research cyber threats, or what we call threat actors or agents, ahead of their emergence and their attack. Then vulnerability management is part of their job. Then we got monitoring and detection, continuous monitoring. They continually monitor the entire IT infrastructure, both on-prem and in the cloud. Then they keep log. They are able to carry out this job of managing log with the aid of a very popular security tool called CM. That's one of the key duties of CM, Security Information Event Management. Then alert ranking and management. This brings us again into a specialized form of what? Risk management. Then we got threat hunting. They do response and recovery, incident response. They respond with alacrity to incidents once they are reported or they are detected. Then, for instance, if a personnel reports a supposed case of a cyber attack, or a likely cyber attack, or a vulnerability detected by one of the personnel at work, they would act. They would respond to that notification promptly. That's part of their job. They are always prompt. If you meet SOC experts, they are always prompt. They are always on the go. They do work like medical workers. You know, the way doctors are called upon, nurses are called upon when there's an emergency. You see the way they act promptly. We are the SOC experts. We are like the doctors or the medical workers. of our organization's digital entity. Root cause investigation is part of the job. They'll go down into an event that has occurred or a potential likely event that will occur by conducting either a postmortem for an event that has occurred or before the incidents occur. Then we got refinements. They use intelligence gathered from the analysis to update security policies, to refine security procedures. And then why do organizations need SOC? For end-to-end visibility. We talked about visibility yesterday. That network devices, the entire network becomes visible. There's need to have a clear visibility of the network. A good example, a device connects to our network. We should know that a device has connected. Oh, a device shut down. We should be able to tell the number of devices that are on, devices that are off, a device that are disconnected. Can I quickly tell you this? That you can tell if a device is turned off but not disconnected, away from a device that is disconnected, whether turned off or not from the network. Yes, we can tell. There are technologies that can detect this. So end-to-end visibility. When we say end-to-end visibility, from the back end of the network to the front end of the network, there's clear visibility of that network in the light of security. Business continuity is another need for SOC. Let the leaders handle vision and mission and goal orientation, goal actualization. Why these experts, SOC analysts and specialists, handle what? Continuity issues should incidents occur. Then data protection, that is clear. Security automation, we saw this in the light of SOA. You remember? Security orchestration and automation, security orchestration, automation, and response. That's SOA. Okay, move on. Benefits of the SOC, real-time monitoring. That's clear, right? Because that's what they do. Rapid incident response. That's clear. Compliance management. Of course, I talked about compliance yesterday. I also saw it today where I said I should have mentioned GRC. It's part of the duties in implementation in SecOps. Then threat intelligence, integration, cost reduction, and what? When cyber incidents are minimal, there will be what? You incur less costs. But when cyber incidents are much, your cost of recovery would be high. Also, security refinement. We talked about this under what? Refinement in the previous slide. Okay. Let's look at types of SOC models. Let me address you, colleagues. This is a bit technical, so I will not go so deep into it. I'll just touch on the surface. Please enroll for a program. You will be well tutored on these models. You can see in our SOC, outsourced SOC, SOC as a service provider, hybrid SOC, virtual SOC, like the SOC I mentioned earlier at the time. That SOC is a place, a center. It exists, whether physically or virtually. Then there's the managed detection and response. These are way deep. And for the SOC experts, those who want to go into the management of SOC, this is meant for them. Those who want to master the art of setting up a SOC. Yes, any of you in the class can be trained on how to set up a SOC. Not necessarily the big one. You can set up a SOC, a security operations center, for that small network, that home network, that business network. Yes, you can. There's a skill set for it. It starts with acquiring, if you're not going virtual, that is, if you don't go into the cloud, if you want to set it up as a physical infrastructure, all you need is just one computer. That's all. And a laptop is not preferred. A desktop is always recommended. So you need a desktop and it must be up and running. That's one of the reasons why laptops are not always preferred when it comes to a device that must run real time. Laptops can break down when they run for a long time. Their fans, their vents, and so on, they are not big. But desktops are designed to run for hours, for weeks, for months. Yes. I've worked on computers that ran for years. Yes, I know that I've worked, I've set up systems, servers are run for years that I maintain. I only go there to shut it down for maintenance. Otherwise, I dare not shut it down because when I need to do maintenance, and then I go there to maintain. Otherwise, I dare not shut it down because that's what personnel rely on. Most of the build the 6 points and the office where transactions are taking place. That's where they rely on to carry out transactions. It's a highly digitized environment. So why will the server even go off at all? And so that's what happens. I mean, the servers have been running for years and never went off. Right? Okay. So these are the models in our SOC, the SOC that operates or that exists and operates within our network, our on-prem network. Please note that on-prem network can be a LAN, can be a CAN, can be a MAN. A LAN is local area network, a CAN is campus area network, a MAN is metropolitan area network, or a WAN, a wide area network. But somewhere within that network, might be in a different geography, we got an on-prem, we call it on-prem, we got an in-house or on-prem security operations center, a facility within the network for that purpose. Now we got the outsourced SOC. This is SOC outsourced. So instead of our organization managing our SOC, Security Operations Center assets, no, it is outsourced to a third party called Managed Security Service Provider, just the way we have Internet Service Provider, Cloud Service Provider. In the same manner, we have Managed Security Service Provider, MSSP. So one of their duties is to manage Security Operations Center for an institution because they have the skill sets. So you just, as a cybersecurity expert, you don't necessarily need to work with an organization like a financial institution and the likes of manufacturing or construction company. You can work with a consultancy outfit providing security as a service to clients. Then we got Security Operations Center as a service. This is what SOC you find operating from the cloud. This can be administered from anywhere. Then we got hybrid SOC. The word hybrid grammatically means two or more types fused together as one. So in hybrid, you can have it as what? In-house, partly what? SOC AAS. Do you hope you get it? Or outsourced and what's in the cloud. Okay. Then we got virtual SOC. This is a security infrastructure but operating strictly from the cloud. The name virtual as it sounds. Then we got, I told you I'm not going to, just look at it on the surface. They are quite deep. They are deep thoughts. Then we got managed detection and response. This is not actually, is not a SOC, is a model which is adopted into SOC setup. And this is the aspect in SOC operations, handling things like endpoint detection and response, EDRO, and extended detection and response, XDR. So now, because of the size of today's SOC and the introduction of artificial intelligence, we now, just the way you have generative AI, or let me use the word AI integrated, or let me say chatbots, I think that would be fine. Just the way you have chatbots integrated into browsers, right, into communication tools like WhatsApp, like on platforms like LinkedIn, X, Instagram. In the same vein, the need to integrate AI into SOC became necessary because SOC activities are highly automated. Why wouldn't we integrate AI into SOC? When we quoted an expert in the field just some slides away, saying we can have up to 10,100 security events in a second, analyzed or captured or filtered per second. So if you have that volume, because there are millions of traffics traversing our network per time, then why don't we integrate AI going by its advanced capabilities? So AI is today integrated into SOC. Let me give you a good example how it works. Can I get a thumbs up if anyone is aware of Grok? I hope I pronounced it well. Grok AI on X. One. Then, has anyone used Grok AI on X? Have you used it? Okay, can somebody just go to the chat segment and drop a note or two? How did you use it? Sorry, I use it. I want to liken it to how AI-driven tools operate with SOC, with security operations activities. I want to liken it. If you really understand how Grok works with X, for instance, if there's a post on X, you can click on Grok without you typing anything. Grok can do an extensive analysis of that post from the account where it's posted, when it was formed, or the area of expertise of that fellow. Or I mean, if you use Grok, you know what I'm talking about. I've used it to design an hierarchical network design. Okay, lovely, Uche, that's fantastic. So the way Grok works on X by helping with what? Posts. So you want to verify a post if it's genuine or not. Grok can do that for you. The source of a post, whether it is not plagiarism, Grok can do that for you. Used to investigate, thank you, the origin of the post. In the same vein, that is how AI works with what? With SOC. I mean, fine, you may want to tell me, but you said we got SOA. Abi, one aspect of SOA, which is called automation, that SecOps in SOC have been automated today. It is true. But then the analysis are overwhelming. So AI simplifies it. AI augments SOA, security, orchestration, automation, and response. AI has come to augment that capability in our SecOps, which is practiced or implemented in SOC. I hope you get the picture. It said AI-driven tools are designed to automate and augment key security operations. Tasks that traditionally consume significant analyst time. This is an advanced construct. I've told you that when it comes to SOC, it's not a bit, it's technical, and it's an advanced form of cybersecurity. Once again, those who are not the technical or technically inclined participants in the house, sorry about these technical jargons. This might not be your area of interest, but notwithstanding, no knowledge is a waste. Good you're here. You don't necessarily have to go this route and get missing in action, because we got GRC, we got DPP for you, and got other routes. You can contact the secretariat or the admin, and you'll be properly educated. According to Gartner, a very known name in the industry, AI SOC agents can assist with one, investigation. There is an attempted intrusion into the network. I prefer to use the word intrusion than use the word hack or hacking. Intrusion is more subtle or more professional than say there's an attempted hack. I'm saying the same thing. Every hack is any attempted or hacking activity is also an intrusion. I hope you get it. So if there's an attempted intrusion into the network, or there's a successful intrusion, not just into the network, but into a particular network resource, because hacking can be within. Yes, hacking is not an activity now performed from outside like we used to know it, because there are skilled manpower who attempt to hack. Let me quickly say this as a note of a warning. I want to please let me use the word, let me appeal, and at the same time, sound it as a note of warning that do not, for no reason, apply your cybersecurity skill on your organization. I mean, offensive skill, maybe pen testing skill or hacking skill on your organization's network or any other organization's network or resources. I hope you get that. I take it again. Do not, for no reason, even if you are disgruntled, I appeal to you for no reason. It is better you resign and leave the organization honorably. And when you're leaving, leave on a clean slate. Do not plant a bug or, in a current sense, a logic bomb or a time bomb. There was a news I saw, because I think this week or sometimes late last week, of a top cybersecurity expert in the US. I don't know if any of you saw that news, that was sent to 8 years in prison. He got disgruntled, and at the time of leaving the organization, he planted a logic bomb. A logic bomb or a time bomb, they are malware that will only detonate their payload or execute their harmful program upon an action. If it is upon an action, that would be logic bomb. But if it's upon the expiration of a time, that would be what? Time bomb. I hope you're getting it. He thought, he actually did it and cleaned the trace. But you know how he was caught? He used his own login to plant that bug. Do not forget that when you leave an organization, you leave your accounts behind and all the logs. Never forget that. So if you're nothing, a reprisal, a vendetta, or on an organization where you think you've been offended or whatever, they cheated you and all of that, there are lots of organizations you can work with that will even reward you. An organization you're working for might not be the one that will eventually reward your skill. You may have worked for an organization for 5 years, for 10 years, and you think they've not given you your worth. There are other organizations you can go apply for their vacant positions and negotiate your pay and get reward. I mean, for the years of service and skill acquisition outside the organization you actually labored, you exerted that effort for. So please, for no reason should you go that route to, I know these things, let me test it. Oh, I found a vulnerability, let me exploit. Please, you don't do that. Not on institution infrastructure you work for, neither on other institutions' infrastructure. Even if you find a vulnerability, you do well by, if there is a formal communication channel, communicate it to them that you, when navigating their resources or your organization's network, you found these vulnerabilities. If there's a registered communication network to report discoveries. Otherwise, there are subtle ways or indirect ways to communicate to an organization or your organization that you found a vulnerability, and they should do what? You should work on it. Okay, so AI SOC agents can assist with investigation, like forensics, can also help with what we call false positive reduction. There's what we call the false alarm. Yes, sometimes an intrusion prevention system or a firewall might become so aggressive that it will flag an attempted access into our network, e.g., from a remote location. It will flag it as an intrusion. This, in the days of the lockdown, remember when people were working from home, a lot of people had this experience where a connection from home or from, a virtual location, remote location was flagged by some aggressive firewalls and aggressive intrusion prevention system as what? Because such false alarm. So AI can go way further beyond what your firewall and IPS can do and help to address that. Then alert enrichment. AI, with the aid of your SIEM or any other CM or any other tool, can enrich the level of alerts you receive. Then attack path contextualization. Okay, we've talked about attack surface, right? Oh, there's also the attack path. Of course, you can do a walkthrough of an attack to determine its path from the source or the origin to the victim's location. So AI can help contextualize that path. Then reporting, summarization. Of course, you know there are AI tools today that can actually reduce or summarize a 20-page report to just 2 pages. Okay, then next step, advisory. AI, because they have human intelligence to some extent, can advise as to what to do upon an assessment of a security posture or incident. Components of SOC. We got SOC analysts and engineers, CM and SOA solutions. That is when you visit a SOC or if you assess a SOC, you should find security analysts within a SOC at the center. You find CM tool and SOA tools in a SOC. You should find threat intelligence as a practice, an operational practice in a SOC. Then you should find the incident response framework, for instance, a plan, a strategy put in place to respond to incidents. You should find it in a SOC. Like, for instance, should you walk into the reception of an organization? Let's say, you know, that first space you enter before you now access offices. You know what you are to expect, like chairs for visitors, maybe a television for them to view while they wait. You know what to expect. The cubicle or the desk of a receptionist. Your mind is already, you know what you are to expect when you walk into an organization. In the same vein, when you walk into a SOC, this is what you should expect to see, right? Okay. Then tools used in SOC. CM is a must-find tool in a SOC, e.g. Splunk, QRadar. These are examples of CM or Microsoft Sentinel. Then we got endpoint detection and response. When we say endpoint, we're talking about end user devices like laptops and the likes. Then we got extended detection and response. For instance, you are using a third party, you should be able to detect, even from the third party's network, that there's a vulnerability, right? Okay, and being able to respond. These are also very deep thoughts. SOA, we've talked about SOA, mentioned it a number of times. It helps automate. Then threats intelligence platform. This is another tool. You should be able to find a tool. When I mean a tool, with technology, a software or a hardware with both in a security operations center that can gather threat intelligence, that can carry out threat analysis and furnish us with what? Intelligence reports about threats. Then user and entity behavior analytics. This uses machine learning to establish anomalies with user behavior. What do I mean by anomalies in user behavior? There's this particular user has been attempting to log in, or every time he's logging in, he must enter his password a minimum of 2 or 3 times before it becomes successful. Can we suspect this individual? If you truly know your password, you shouldn't be entering it to a minimum of 2 times before you gain it out. You know what I'm talking about? So with this kind of tech tool or technology in place, that user can be flagged and investigation can be conducted. Perhaps someone is attempting to use his account. Or there's what we call replay attack. Yes, if there is this repeated 2-3 times attempts before a successful login is gained, it could possibly be an attack or an intrusion through an attack called replay attack. Key members of a SOC, I'll call it a day here. Also, let me see. Okay. Yeah, I'm almost done. I'm almost done with the class. Good. I think I actually built some speed. key members of a SOC team are what? Of course, the head of the SOC team is the CISO, Chief Information Security Officer. Then below this cadre, we got the SOC manager. We got the security analyst or SOC analyst. Are they the same personnel? They just might be, or they might be separated depending on the size of the SOC system or the SOC organogram, the SOC's structure. But the head of the security operations of an organization is usually called the Chief Information Security Officer. Next in that order would be the SOC manager, managing the facility itself, the center. Then the SOC analyst can perform monitoring and assignments as much as the SOC analyst. The last key role that forms the SOC team is the analyst. But then we now have some, actually, we're going to see that from here, but we now have other inclusions in a SOC center or in a security operations center, like the threat hunter, the forensic analyst, incident responder. Some organizations have this personnel operate outside the SOC structure. While for some institutions, these personnel operate within the SOC structure. I mean, the operating structure. Then there's the SOC engineer. This one can develop, it can design, and also develop SOC, a security operations center. Okay, this is a typical organogram of a security operations center. You can find the CISO. He occupies leadership position. He's a member of the CISO and represents the interests of the SOC and speaks for the SOC and all of that. Anything SecOps, that's the man handling that from the leadership cadre. Next to him is the man who sits as the manager and provides oversight over that center, the SOC manager. We saw that in the previous slide. Then we now have some of you in class must have seen this word. Please, there's this thing called SOC 1, SOC 2, SOC 3. It's not the same thing as our SOC. Service organization, and what do you, can somebody please help me with that name? I think it's called Service Organization and something. It's a standard issued by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. Somebody can please help me. It's not coming to my head in full. It is called SOC 2. It's then from our SOC. So should you find SOC on the internet, there are two different SOC. One is a standard. The other is a center. It's an operational center. So somebody please quickly help me with the SOC. You can search SOC 1, SOC 2 and all of that. Or it's called Service Operations and something. I'm trying to remember that C. It's a standard issued by AICP, American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. But this SOC I'm talking about now is not a standard. It's a center. Do you get it? So we got personnel with this cadre within this center. We got SOC tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, also called L1, layer 1, L2, L3. These are the three SOC layers. Tier 1, these are the notes for the SOC tier 1 analyst. He operates at the monitoring tier of our SOC organogram, or organization structure. System and organization. Thank you. I was in service and something. Thank you, Daddy. Sorry, it got me into my head. System and organization control is a standard issued by what? AICP in the US. So that's one SOC. But that's not this is our own SOC is a center. Thank you. So we got tier 1 analysts at that layer. Look at the structure again. Please imagine this organogram from bottom up. Let's say is a pyramid. Imagine this box as a pyramid. At the base of the pyramid are the SOC operations. That's where we have the tier 1 or L1, L2, L3. Some vacancies will say SOC analyst. Then let me quickly just chip this in. Should you apply for a job, a SOC analyst vacancy? You will see in some SOC analyst vacancy, they will clearly state that they will write SOC analyst in brackets L1 or tier 1, T1, or T2 or T3. So for T1, that is a job cadre. That the three are all analyst cadre, but is a security monitor. For the T2, is a responder, an incident responder. For T3, which is more advanced than T1, T2, is what? Is a hunter. For some of the vacancies I've seen, I always see T2, T3. Be on the lookout when you see SOC. You can go search SOC vacancies. You can search that. SOC analyst vacancy. You can search that way. You'll find some of the job vacancies will clearly state T1 or L1. Some will say T1 and 2. I mean, T2 and 3. Some combined but I've not seen any of such vacancy that combine 1, 2, 3. You want to kill that person. What now? You want the person alone to be the monitor, the responder, and the hunter. You want to kill him, you overwhelm him with work. So you should now know by this explanation that for the double, it's T1 and T2 or T2 and T3, should you find such vacancy, definitely you'll be able to negotiate your pay if you have the skill sets. Oh, me alone, I'll be performing the job of a responder and also as that of a hunter, then this is what I'm settling for. Then we have the SOC leader and the manager. Thank you. I thought I was not able to finish this today, but I had to gather some speed or build some speed. Thank you for giving me that attentive ears. Thank you so much. Moderators, over to you.
Thank you so much, Hade. Wow. What an incredible session we've just had. So please, oh, wow. Thank you. I can see so many loves, appreciation, congratulations to every one of us. So thank you so much. Thank you, Ade. Let us actually take this special moment to truly appreciate our instructor for the time, for his dedication, the knowledge shared throughout the training. Oh, wow. Every session has been carefully delivered with depth, with clarity and real-world examples. I so much love the examples. It simplifies everything, making cybersecurity not just a technical subject, but a journey that we could all connect with. We also want to celebrate you, our dear participants, for your commitment, for showing up day by day, engaging with the content, attempting the quizzes. I can see what we're doing back end here, and even sharing your experiences in the chats is what makes the whole training so impactful. You attended and you participated actively, and this is what really makes the difference in learning. So right now, question and answers session will take place. So please ask questions. I'll repeat, please ask questions. No matter how small or complex, today is the grand finale. So take opportunity and let us ask our instructor. He will be glad to address them. This is the opportunity for you to gain clarity and deepen your understanding before we close this chapter of the training. Okay, so if you still have questions, I'd like you to bring it in. So while the instructor was taking us through the class, one of the participants asked that you talked about the capture yesterday. What function does it do in cybersecurity? It says those in touch.
Okay, the question again, I talked about what?
You talked about capture.
Okay, capture. Okay, thank you.
Yes, let me drop the question here.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, it says what function. Can you see the question, sir? It
Okay,
said
let me
what
scroll.
function does it do in cybersecurity?
Okay, I can see the question.
Yes, just touch this.
Okay, capture. And it is number one is a proactive security measure aimed at ensuring that only a human being can access a resource, e.g., a website or a web page. The reason is because there is this attack called botnet attack. That attack ends up becoming what is called distributed denial of service attack. Sorry about this complexity. I have to reference, mention these complex attacks because they're actually complex. DDoS, distributed denial of service, and botnets are actually advanced attacks. But the origin of these attacks starts from first compromising some computers, which might be your device, my device, your phone. I'm sorry to say that for some of us on this call, our devices are actually zombies. They are bots. That's the technical word. Zombies or bots. They are the same thing that have been compromised and unknown to us and employed by an attacker to launch an attack, a targeted attack at, e.g., a website or a web server. How does this take place? There will be several attempted access into that site or request on that site at several milliseconds. Not even a second, several milliseconds. In fact, thousands of attempts in 1 second. And this can overwhelm the capacity of that web server to respond to those requests. It's like, oh, how do I simplify this? It's like somebody's asking, let me assume there's a lady called Juliet. Somebody saying, Juliet, and the individual called your name, you listening 1,000 times in a minute. And you are trying to say, yes, to every Juliet, because that's how you've been programmed to respond. So imagine that Juliet 1,000 times per minute, and you are saying yes 1,000 times per minute. What will eventually happen to you? You will fag out. You will be exhausted because you've been responding in that same order. I mean, one person. Imagine 10 persons calling Juliet 1,000 times per person per minute across 10 persons. What will happen to you? Your ear will go deaf, right? Then that is how it happens. So to address such attacks, the use of capture was introduced. Number one, to address botnet. Then number two, not just botnet. Okay, you are a valid user. There are times, I'm going to mention a brand, Google. You will check those boxes correctly. Another set of box will come up again. You will check and check. I don't know if anybody has had that experience, that you get disgruntled at some point that, what is all this now? I've been checking these boxes correctly, and you click verify. And it will come up with other set of, I've had that experience. I get tired sometimes, I just quit. All of these are meant, sometimes that's wrongly programmed, but sometimes it is done on purpose so that you have to repeat that task up to 3 times to be sure you are genuine, you are human, you are not a bot. So that's actually the primary reason for putting capture in place. I hope I've been able to answer that. That was a long question. Using backup, okay. Have I answered that?
Yeah, thank you so much. Ade, please, if he has answered your question to your satisfaction, you can let him know. And this second one says, what's the difference between outsourced SOC and SOCAS outsourced? Can you see the question, sir?
What's the difference between outsourced SOC and SOC as a service? Okay, thank you. Both outsourced SOC and SOC as a service is provided by this service is rendered by MSSP, Managed Security Service Providers. Now, the MSSP might be providing this service from the cloud. That would be a SOC as a service, or might even be your premises, managing your security operations center. Yes, I know some organizations, I'm not going to mention names, their SOC is partly managed by, like, it's a hybrid system. I mean, their in-house SOC is partly managed by a particular MSSP and their personnel. The reason is because they believe they do not have the skill sets, that is, the manpower with the appropriate skill set to administer the entire SOC. So what they do is some even outsource their SOC outright to an organization to manage for them. There are some organizations too I know, their NOC, Network Operations Center, is completely outsourced to service providers to manage for them. So whether it's being provided from the cloud under SOC as a service, or it's been outsourced, the MSSP is that third party who provides that service. I hope that's clear. Okay.
Okay.
Moderator? Yeah.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. Thank you so much. I have another one here. It says, how secured are the password manager complaints?
How secured? Can I say that question quickly? How secured?
How secured are the password manager complaints?
This question, it did not express the question in full. When you say password manager company, I'm trying to figure it out. Although we have password management as part of security operations, but when you now say password manager companies, okay, I'm trying to make some sense out of it, because I know password management as one of the key aspects of SecOps. But when you now say password manager companies, could you be referring to a CA, like a certification authority or a certificate authority? Or could you be referring? I'm trying to make sense out of. Please, if you can reconstruct that question, it will help me to answer you articulately. The next question, please.
Thank you. The next question I've posted as well.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes. How is security hygiene different from
Yes,
SecOps?
thank you.
Oh. Okay, thank you. Hygiene is an individual practice. I mean, institutions can introduce security hygiene as to its personnel, because it can amount to a culture too. But some organizations are very conscious of their security posture. For instance, like clean desk policy is a form of security hygiene. Lock screen is a form of what? Security hygiene. The dumpster where you trash papers, there are policy around it, or there's a policy or two around on how to what kind of paper to trash, or okay, the use of shredder instead of just squeezing, Then the use of what? Password, oh gosh, creating, there's this name we call it. Oh my word, it's trying to come to my head. In terms of password, gosh, this is coming to my head, is like coming and going. Well, what I'm trying to say is password lengths, right? Yes, there are policies to that effect as to what an ID password length and a character should look like. That's an example of what? Password hygiene. I hope you're getting me. So, how is it different from SecOps? Is an operation. It's a security operation. So, within SecOps, by way of administering SecOps, security hygiene becomes one of the activities. I hope that is clear. So, security hygiene is for the end user. SecOps personnel, or those saddled with the responsibility of administering SecOps, security hygiene will now be part of their service rendering. Okay, let's run maybe a week, a security hygiene week. Sometimes they make it a deliberate practice by dedicating a week, a day to it, that okay, this is our security hygiene week, or Some of you are made security ambassadors who will now promote security hygiene to your colleagues on behalf of the institution. I know whoever asked that question must have had a training or two or a sensitization or two on security hygiene. But then it is part of SecOps duty to promote security hygiene. I think that is clear. I hope that is clear enough for you.
Okay, thank you, Ade. Timile has another question, and I posted it now. That for apps website that gives the option to remember me, is that a cybersecurity? Is it cybersecurity safe?
Yes, remember me is a security operation. Yes, I tried simplifying the security operation thing yesterday. Remember me, or for your browser, you can say save my password. You see, all of these are for administrative purposes and for ease of access. You want to say remember me because, please, this is okay, let me bring security hygiene into it now. It will be security, it will be hygienic security-wise to click on remember me if you will be visiting that site often. If you will not be visiting that site often, or you will rarely visit that site, like maybe once in the next 2-3 months, do not click on it. It is safe if you are entering your username and password yourself than remember me and the next. Because remember me is actually good when you just for access, for ease of access. I don't say anything, it's for you as the user, not for the organization per se. So it's just like save my password too, or save my credentials, so that the next time you are entering your user, the browser will pop it up. Then you just click and you understand. It is the browser that does that, actually, that saves your credentials because you visit the site. That one is also for administrative, for ease. The reason is because a number of times people do forget their password. I mean, I've received calls for an account I just set up and asked the person to come and enter your password. And as the person left to go and log in on his or her desk, a computer, and in a few minutes I was getting a call. Mr. Fusho, please, what's my password? It's so funny, right? Because I have to laugh. How can someone who just entered his password or password a few minutes ago is calling to ask for their password? They claim they can't remember. So it is because of this repetitive incidents, because it's an incident truly, though not a harmful incident, hasn't resulted in any loss or whatever. That okay, browsers, can you please say password? So to assess where the password is saved, you now have to provide, now an authentication, so you can access the password. Though it has its own drawback, but there's all security hygiene to all of this practice. So please, I just want to advise you, be careful before you say remember me, because if that site is compromised, that remember me means some of your data is in that web server. So if that site is compromised, such data which you might not necessarily know what it, like maybe your IP address, your location, and so on and so forth, might just be accessed and might be used against you by the attacker who has compromised that system. So I hope I've answered that. Thank you, Kayode.
Thank you. Thank you so much, our instructor. Another question here is from Ismail. I think is the last question on the chat box. In a case where a user uses more than 5 passwords, and in order not to forget, I learned that there is advisable save time and okay, I think he was trying to explain.
Okay, I'm saying it. Okay, I can. In a case where a user uses more than 5 passwords and is, or in order not to forget, I learned that it is advisable to save them with a password manager. For example, yes, I've mentioned that when you try to register on a site, sometimes the system the user to save the password for future. Yes, saving the password for future is not the website. No website should save your password for you. I repeat that. No website should save your credentials for you. It is your browser that does that. That is why you can access that saved credential, that's the username and password, even when you are not online. I mean, you can navigate settings, go to security, depending on the browser you're using. They have their peculiar navigation. Please note that. No website should do that. And in addition to that, there is okay, I'll see if we can come up with a free training on password management. I'm not promising you. I'll see if we can come up with a free training on password management. There are simple, but at the same time, difficult to guess password creation. Very simple, but difficult to guess by other people. Yes. People have not mastered that art. That is why you forget password. If I teach you that art, you will never forget your password again. I said you will never forget your password again. But I can't teach it now. We are like 12, 13 minutes gone past the closing time. So I will see if we can come up with a free training on that so that you can master the arts. Or maybe I will just do a video around it and then upload on our site, and then you can go access the video for free. Right? I think that would serve right. So I hope I've answered that. Okay.
Yes.
I want to quickly, okay, any question? Let me see. I want to say something, but perhaps I'll just say along any other question. Is it advisable to log in with your email sometimes when you try to sign up? Let me quickly answer this. For some sites, you can log in or create an account with phone number or email, right? The best is email, not phone number. You agree with me that most of our social media platforms allow you to create, like Facebook, Instagram, allow you to create an account using phone number. You may never lose your email, but you can lose your phone number. And do not forget that if maybe you lost that, you forgot your password and you are trying to reset, most reset procedure would send OTP to that account, that phone number or that email. Now, the question is, what if you lost that number and you never recovered it? Or you need to access that account, but the phone accommodating the SIM is not with you, and an OTP has been sent there. So how do you access the OTP and reset? And that is why it is advisable you create an account with an email because of this foreseeable reason. I mean, what might come up later in the future. You can easily access your email. You may not easily lose your email. I don't know if there's anybody here who has lost their mail and you couldn't recover that mail again. So that's my piece of advice. And using the top to bottom approach. What happens if the top management is too sluggish in approaching? And adopting security operations, I have had to answer this question many times. Where management is always slow to respond, number one, they are not enlightened. There is actually a training we offer called cybersecurity for managers or cybersecurity for board members. It is good that every personnel from the top to the bottom to be on the same, if not the same, or close to the same level of knowledge as far as security concerns or security matters are concerned. So I would strongly advise that management trainings should have cybersecurity incorporated into it. Yes. In fact, I want to say this emphatically. If you are a human resource personnel in the house or you're close to human resource, ensure that cybersecurity becomes a necessary training program across board in your organization. I mean a necessity. We've seen that from some quotes I read out on our slide. Make sure cybersecurity is a necessary training program or is incorporated into maybe just as a chapter or as a module in that training program. By so doing, you enlighten them. It's one of the reasons why. The another reason may be budget. Now, might not be the fact that they don't know. Sometimes they have this wrong perception in the light of costs when it comes to cybersecurity. Oh, it will go up so much from us. No. Cybersecurity doesn't have to go up so much. Should you do it the right way? If you do it the wrong way, it will go up. Just like all other decisions made by management that ends up consuming so much from their budget, right? Management won't tell me they don't make some wrong decisions that consume so much from their budget. Of course, the same thing too could happen. But then, if they are properly enlightened in the light of costs, and you too, while communicating cybersecurity needs, please communicate it, putting costs and benefits analysis into your presentation so that they will know, okay, this is what it will cost. It's not going to break, we're not going to break the bank because we need to, and then we can do it. You can introduce what we call the layered approach. That is, okay, we can implement, we can start from here, then we bring this into it, then we bring, I'm getting, instead of trying to implement cybersecurity holistically, you can layer the implementation. There will be a buy-in into that. And lastly, you say they might be sluggish. Yes, there are some leaders who listen to some persons. Please, this is off official. It's unofficial, what I'm about to say now. Hardly would you find a leader or a policy or decision maker in an organization who doesn't have fondness for someone or someone he listens to. Do you get it? You will know. Look out for that person that they listen to. They might not listen to you, but listen. Go through that channel. Tell to that person that, so I've been trying to get a boss to hear this or to ascend to this, but he's not listening. Even anytime I raise it up, it gives me a cold appearance or just turns the other way. And you talk to him about it, he listens to you. This is unofficial, but it works wonders. They might not listen or understand your language because perhaps it's technical or whatever, for other reasons, obvious reasons, but they'll listen to someone else and go through that person and you win their hearts. You get their buying. I think I've answered that. Okay. I want to quickly say this. The training is over and there's some 1 or 2 requirements in order to get your certificate, which number 1, you must have attended not less than 4 of the 6 sessions. Then number 2, take your mock. The mock are so simple. They just 10 questions. If you have attempted the mock, you know what I'm talking about. Per focus area. Just 10 questions. And it's not burdensome. You know, can I quickly just say, even the pass mark is so simple, it's just 50%. So just pass 5 over 10, you have passed. So please take the mock, it's not difficult. I know the questions, so they are not difficult. And also, what we were taught is way more advanced than the questions in the mock, way more advanced than the questions. The questions are like KG to secondary school students' education. So that's that. Then there's this other promise that deliverable from the training, which is called CPE, Continuous Professional Education Unit. I would like to say this clearly, that your CPE, upon completion of your certificates, completion of your mock, the tests, you will get your certificate will be automatically generated, but you not have CPE credit on it automatically. No, there's a form that is going to be administered. For not everybody would need CPE. If you are not in the professional world, that is, if you do not belong to a certification body, you might not know what they call CPE. CPE is the word continuous professional education. It is a mandatory, not just necessary, but a mandatory requirement to continuously maintain your certificate with certain professional bodies, like, for instance, ICANN requires for it, ISC Square, ISACA, CompTIA, and a host of other certification bodies do request for CPE reporting on a yearly basis. And there is a number that must be reported, a minimum that must be reported. So this certificate has CPE, but it will be a waste should CPE be on all certificates, because you just do not need it if you are not reporting CPE. So there is a form that will be administered, like I said. Express your interests for a certificate with CPE. Do you get it? It will be dropped in the community group, in the WhatsApp community. So if you, those of you who know what they call CPE, I'm actually, you are the ones I'm communicating this to. So fill the form so that we can get, okay, which professional body, get the name correctly, the name that will be on the certificate and all of that. So please, you do well by filling the form. Is the what you need to fill on the form is like just 4 boxes or thereabout. Very your name, the professional body, and like 2 or no, like 3 or 4 questions. Very simple. So please do the needful so that we can have that properly captured and your certificates can have CPE. I hope that is clear. Moderator. And please, lastly, so that you don't say we were not told, so that you don't say we're not told. Those asking for CP comes at a token. For this training, you are eligible to 10 credit units. It comes at a peanuts, as a token. So please fill it and the admin will respond to your application for CP. Please, I'm not saying your certificate comes at a fee. The certificate is free. It is only those who want CPE. So it is the CPE that comes. I'm not saying the certificate, please, so that you don't quote me. I don't quote that context. It is the CPE that comes at a token. The certificate is free. Add it to your resume. Upload it on your LinkedIn and other professional profile. Certificate is free. Those who are in need of CPE are the one I'm addressing. The CPE credits come, it comes at a token. So please fill the form and the admin will communicate to you appropriately. Thank you everyone for
Thank you so much, Ade. But before you go, please let me just allow Yakubu. He requested to speak. I think you have a question, right? I believe it's a question, right? Yakubu.
Yakubu Rashidat, please go ahead.
Yes.
You requested to speak. Please unmute your device. Please check that your device is unmuted.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Ade.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for the training. If I had paid, it would have been money well spent. Thank you so much. What I wanted is just, I needed clarity on something. Right from the day you taught us DPP, right? I spent a lot of time researching on it, and I think I'm really interested in that part.
Okay.
But I just need the clarity from you based on your professional experience and you're an expert in your field. Right, where I am presently, I discovered that for me to do well in DPP, right, I need to get an understanding of the GDPR of the region or the country that I am. I need to have a sound knowledge of how it's been implemented. So my question is, I came from a finance background, which I know it doesn't really matter when you're transitioning. So my question is, if you were going to advise me, should I go for GRC or I should go for DPP? And if I want to go for DPP, how do you incorporate this GDPR into the training structure? Right?
Okay.
That's question one. Sorry, sir.
Okay, okay.
That's why I wanted to speak. So that's question one. So my question two is, how do you structure your trainings, right? While I was doing my research, I noticed some other trainings, maybe they will have like 6 weeks or 8 weeks of theoretical, then 6 weeks of practical. As you agree with me, it's more of your skills right now. It's not really about certification, even though you can actually get certification while on the job. So in courses like this, you need hands-on. You need to be doing a lot of training. So I would like to know what are the structure, like what are the time frames, how many weeks and all that. That's question two. Question three is, what do you incorporate in the training? Do you do CV revamp? Do you do LinkedIn optimization? Do you do interview prep? Do you give your students job sites? As I am a newbie, I'm trying to transition into tech. I think I need those things, right?
Okay.
Do you have community where you have alumni who have gone through the academy we can always fall back on? one-on-one and all that. That's question 3, I guess. And then question 4.
Okay.
I think I've gone through your website and I've seen your payment plan. But my question is, what are your structure in terms of what are your payments? Is it installment? Do you do installment payments? And yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Importantly, I want the clarity, please, Prophet. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
Thank you for your
There are
time.
4 questions and I'll answer it bottom up from number.
Okay, that's fine. That's
Okay. Okay. Yes, there is a payment option as in terms of installments. I hope I've answered that straight. Yes, we have that across all our training programs.
Okay,
Then
thank you. We'll be discussing as we wrap up the. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Ade, do you want to respond?
Can I respond to it quickly?
Okay, yes, you can go ahead, please.
Okay, so number 1, there's payment plan, payment in installment. Then number 2 is, yes, our training, they all have both they are professional. Our training are professionally developed. What I mean professionally developed according 1, industry standards. Then number 2, in line with certification standards. The way I've trained this, in the last 6 days of training is in line with professional standards. Otherwise, I would have taken it randomly. That's why I've been getting these accolades. For those of you who have gone through professional trainings, you agree with very well with me. So that's to that. There are lots of hands-on. And then we have a community. Of course, we have professionals whom we've trained, and we do all of that. We do interviews, we do prep. I just want to tell you that we did an interview preparation for someone, one of us, our students, who just got a job, an IT governance job in the UK. So we do all of that. It's part of the added value when you train here at SkillToPro Academy. CV revamp, we'll tell you how you can make yourself visible on LinkedIn. That one is even inside the training program, you will be told how to make yourself visible on LinkedIn. We have testimonies to that. People claim they did not apply for jobs. It was potential employers that reached out to them through DM because of the visibility. So there is a way it is drafted to make yourself visible. Yeah, so we do all of that. It's part of. If you have any job vacancy, invitation for job interview, you can reach out to us and we will gladly prep you because you are now a member of the SkillToPro family. And your professional excellence is our primary objective, not the pay. You will later realize that whatever you're paying SkillToPro is just a fraction of the value that will be impacted into you. Then, for the transition, you asked, I should guide you as to whether GRC or DPP. The first question the question I would have loved to ask you, are you transitioning? So you said you have a finance background. I don't know if what you do currently is still finance, but are you transitioning completely from finance to this world, or you still want to remain in finance and upskill? They are 2 different things.
I want to transition. But I still want to make use of my skill set in finance. So I don't know how it works.
Okay. Now, in finance, is your area of dexterity in finance, is it risk? Is it compliance? Is it more of governance?
I do both risk and compliance, sir.
Okay. So that you do not leave your background and your background does not leave you. Oftentimes, we advise that you go the route, you just scale up from your background so that it is quite easier to learn if you're building on that path. That is, if you need to refer to what you already know in order to learn what you need to know, it's quite easier than when you're coming into a new field. But whether finance, whether GRC or DPP, your background is good enough. Though in GRC, your background would help you more to master GRC better than in DPP. Because in DPP, you are coming to learn some some whole new things. For instance, you would need, because of the climb where you are, you will need to master GDPR, which is not a problem for us. We have all the tools to equip you with the mastery of GDPR in terms of developing a program of implementation, how to go about it, and so on. And that one is not a problem for us. But then I would, both is good for you. And where you are, there are job vacancies. But lastly, I would advise you on this note that please go to the very popular job sites. If you really want to know which one do I go into or which one will I fancy, go and search for job vacancies on GROC, read or study their job description across like up to 10 different job roles, not the same, but different job roles on GROC. Do the same thing for DPP. Then you cannot reach a point of conclusion whether to go GROC. Job description is very key when you need to decide which route to go. I think this job description is asking for too much. It's like this one is not. I hope you're getting it. It helps a lot to reach a decision point as to which path to go. So that's my piece of advice. You can always reach us through the secretariat. If you want a one-on-one, we are available. Beyond this session, we are very much available. So Rashidat, have I done justice to that?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Ade. Please, let's appreciate him once more. Patrick, you can switch off your video. Thank you so much, Ade. Wow. As we begin this, you know, we are wrapping up the class, and it's as if it should just keep on going like that. So let us take a deep moment to also appreciate ourselves, every one of you, professionals. It takes serious commitment to go thus far. Over the past 6 classes, we have shown true commitment, we have shown resilience and a genuine desire to learn. From the very first day on to now, we have all proven that we are professionals determined to grow and embrace the opportunities in cybersecurity. And especially to you, Ade, once again, we cannot thank you enough. We say a heartfelt thank you for pouring so much knowledge and guidance into this program. And to you all, thank you once again. Thank you for trusting SkillToPro Academy with your learning journey. That is why we have shared the feedback from. Please endeavor to fill to the feedback form. The feedback form is going to help us to serve you better, because the training might come up often than you expected, so that we can build on whatever feedback we get from you positively. And I also want you to remember, this is not the end. It is only the beginning, as is generally being said. This free course was... David, please help me mute your mic. Thank you. This free course was designed to give you a solid foundation in cybersecurity. But the real transformation begins when you specialize and go deeper. And that is why we are excited to share with you, I'm sure you're familiar with it already, our exclusive professional training programs tailored to prepare you for global career opportunities, just like our instructor has mentioned. Majorly, we have 4: the data privacy and protection, DPP analyst, governance, risk and compliance, GRC analyst, security operations and defense, SecOps analyst, and if you identity and access management, if you want to do that as well. So, but here is the special part. Because you participated in this free program, you are eligible for a special discount. And these discounts, trust me, it's huge for any of our paid courses. This is a way of rewarding your commitment and giving you a head start as you transition from learning the essentials to becoming a specialist in the field. So we'll encourage you to fill the form. Let me drop the form here for us to fill. And it will also be dropped in the communities as well. If you are interested, let us know so that we can guide you and answer more questions that you have. If you want us to guide you in picking the right choice, so please fill that form. It will also be dropped in various communities, and you also get it in your email. So as you log in, you also see the information and you will be able to make the best decision for your career journey. If you like more guidance, please reach out to us directly. We'll be very, very glad to walk you through. Reach out to us via the community. You can send us a direct message. You can also reach out to us via email. So we'll be able to attend to you and guide you accordingly. So once again, thank you for being part of this grand finale. We are proud of the journey so far, and we can't wait to see you take the next bold step. It's very important. Don't let it stop here. Next bold step towards becoming a highly sought after cybersecurity professional. With that, this concludes the Mastering Cybersecurity Essential Training. We wish you the very best in your next steps, and we look forward to welcoming you into our advanced programs. Thank you so much.